Hello, and welcome to this edition of the Discover Montcalm podcast. My name's Dwayne. I'm the host and producer, and today I'm doing something different, something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. I wanted to expand Discover Montcalm out. So we have a section now called Chatting Local, which will be part of the Discover Montcalm podcast. But Chatting Local, we're going to explore the stories and businesses that connect Montcalm County to a wider Michigan community. And my guest for this first episode of the Discover Montcalm podcast, Chatting Local segment is...
Hello, everybody. It's Chris Jane from What's Up Big Rapids podcast, and I can't wait to tell you more about it right after this.
Welcome to the Discover Montcalm podcast, where we are going to look at the communities, the businesses, the attractions, and the people that make up Montcalm County. Here is your podcast host, Dwayne Weed.
Welcome back to this segment of the Discover Montcalm podcast. We're doing a Chatting Local segment, which is new to the Discover Montcalm podcast. But don't forget, you can find us on Pandora, Apple, iHeart. You can grab discovermontcalmpodcast.com, grab the RSS feed. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Like us, subscribe, follow us. But we're going to get right into our guest today, who is Chris Jane, who has What's Up Big Rapids. He's got a podcast up there. He's got his fingers in about everything. But we're going to dive into his story right here. Chris, thank you for making the trip.
Oh, man, my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah.
We've been, I didn't realize you weren't a Mecosta County guy. I used to see you so much. I just assumed you were local to our area.
Yeah.
It wasn't until you started this several years back, or it came on my radar, I realized, oh man, this guy's actually got his fingers in quite a few pies. So
well, I'm not dead yet. Let's just go out and enjoy life. And we've had conversations about that between the two of us. We don't have to dive that deep today.
No.
Before we get into the What's Up Big Rapids, I'd like to learn a little bit more about who is Chris. Can you tell me about?
Yeah.
Can we go back?
Nobody ever asks that.
in the early days, I want to get to know the people behind the sign.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, kind of where you started.
Sure.
So where did you grow up, and kind of give me a quick little overview.
Sure. Happy to do that. I was a Michigan kid, born and raised, and my parents, let's just say they were of meager means. Was raised in a single wide trailer by a single mom, and hey, look at us now. We've done okay. Had great times as a kid in Michigan, running around. But as soon as I got that diploma in my hand at 18, I wanted to see the world.
Right.
That feeling.
Look out, world. Here
Man.
comes Chris.
I literally took my diploma in my hand, walked right outside, got into my car. It was already packed with everything kind of that was important to me. Took off. The car lasted 2 days. It broke down after 2 days, and I left it where it sat. After that, I was on foot, and ended up traveling around the country quite a bit. Met my wife in Florida, on the beaches of Florida. Came very close to making our life there. If it weren't for a couple of bad hurricane seasons in a row, I think we would have just stayed there. But I said, instead of having to evacuate and rebuild all the time, we can go live in northern Michigan. My parents are up there. They've said come up, and there's jobs, and there's all So we came up and got married. It's 20 years we've been married, and have been here that whole time. So got into real estate about 10 years ago. That changed our lives again, and it's kind of where all of a sudden I started to be aware of the county around me and of the people around me, the things they were doing. Before that, I feel like we had lived a pretty small life, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. We had been, we'd kind of been in the same spot for 10 years, and we felt like we only knew the same 50 people.
Right.
You know what I mean? We went to kind of a small church, and we lived, we homeschooled a bunch when our kids were real small. You know what I mean? That kind of like, we just were kind of living a little bit secluded. And so when I got into real estate, I took Leadership Mecosta Have you done that program
I have not had the opportunity. We have Leadership Montcalm down here.
Yeah.
And that just hasn't happened for me.
I highly recommend it for everyone.
But I've been part of it. They've invited me in as a guest speaker, and I've done different things there.
They absolutely should.
So and they come around the Career Center and we talk about things there.
Yeah, of course. So you're well aware of that program. What it is basically it's a 9-month program, or at least in our area it is.
I think it's the same
for professionals. People who would like to learn more about the different areas. And each month, you meet once a month, and it's broken into topics or areas of industry or of health or of education, right, et cetera. So each month has a focus. And over the course of that program, I met more people doing more amazing things in Mecosta County than I had met in the entire time I had lived there before.
I think you and I met because I was part of the Mecosta County Chamber and part of the Band of Locals. And I think I met you originally on a bus tour that the Band of Locals were taking around the county.
I remember that trip.
And then, because of our love of music and some other
video.
things. And video. We had a little tie.
Yeah.
And we kind of bopped back and forth in that.
And that was probably almost 10 years ago. Not quite.
It might have been that or...
Yeah. Yep. And I had just started sort of making a name for myself as a real estate agent with video. And you obviously are known for a guy who's very capable with video. And it was easy to connect. And that's why I'm glad to see you're still serving the people of your area with your skills in your free time.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And it's fun. So
it is fun.
That kind of bring this around and let's see if I can get this.
It's fun
to
do with your friends.
Yes.
I'll tell you guys that.
Yeah.
Poor Dwayne here has to mostly work by his lonesome.
Yeah.
But when you can do something like this with some friends, which I have the pleasure of doing, boy, is it fun.
And it's been good that I've been able to bring in, Cara, and we're trying to bring in Dillinger, it's where I want to bring it. I don't want to be the only mouth.
Absolutely.
Because there's different opinions in different ways.
Yeah.
But let's get right into
What's up,
Big Rapids. And if you can see this right here,
much like y'all, What's Up Big Rapids is it's a kind of a local focused podcast. Ours is supposed to be informative and fun, so we kind of call it infotainment. We want it to be the place that our local folks check in to see what's happening, but we also don't want to take ourselves very seriously. We want to have fun with it.
It's a conversation, just like what you and I are having here. I said, for me, there's no agenda. Other than the fact that I want to get to know the person behind the sign. What makes you tick? Did this whole thing, and let's go to this right now. I know, based on what I know about you, this wasn't your first rodeo.
Correct.
But what kind of kept you coming back to saying, I'm going to do What's Up Big Rapids?
Yeah. Well, there's been a void in the area for quite a while because we all know people are not checking the newspaper every day. People aren't even listening to the radio all day like they used to. If you want to reach them, you've got to go where their eyes and their ears are, and that is usually their phones, right? It's online, it's social media, it's whatever. And there's been the city has a job to do. The county has a job to do. They're not social media experts by any means,
right.
Even though they might get an intern once a year that tries to lift that.
It's a continual job.
It absolutely is, and it's only getting more sophisticated, every year. So I knew there was a need. I had started a podcast called Live Big Rapids, and it was more like this long form interview style, which is great. I think there's such a need for that.
You get to know somebody.
Absolutely. But I got busy. I got burnt out. I ran out of time. That failed. I started it again a year or so later, Live Big Rapids as a 4-person panel, live show once a month, and we did it, I think, about 4 or 5 months before I got really busy again, and it kind of flamed out.
It is a commitment. I know that
so
on
much
my
work.
end, I've got an episode going out every week.
You're right.
And, it's like, oh, okay. but that's okay. That's what I chose.
Right. So I knew that if I was going to do this again, I didn't want it to flame out again. I knew I was going to need not only a partner, I was going to need a team to help keep me accountable to the schedule, also to help share the load, because the show that we ended up deciding to do is not a long form interview show like this.
Mm-hmm.
It is more of a
it's facts.
It's more of a fast paced show. We have segments, so that every 3 or 4 minutes you're probably getting a different topic, unless we just go ham on something and start laughing and like we were talking about whether we would jump out of a plane now at this age versus when we were like 20 years old.
Now is there anything wrong with the plane?
No.
Okay.
Perfectly good
so
plane.
now it's a choice.
That's right. Perfect choice. And and so we went off on that. We'll do stuff like that, but for the most part, we're trying to make it more of something that the community can check in on at almost any point and get something of value out of it. They're not just listening to us tell old stories or anything like that. It's very current, and we're trying to keep our finger right on the pulse of the community, but also, having fun.
And if it's anything like my journey with the podcast, it's going to, because as things go.
Yeah.
And, the way I started to what I'm doing now is totally different.
Wow.
I like where it's coming.
Yeah.
Because it's more open. It's more about the person.
Yeah.
I would love to get more at their location because that's where the stories are.
Yeah, but it's so much work to set up a good, proper podcasting and streaming studio like you have done here. This is very professional.
Yeah.
And to do that in different environments under that, why do that to yourself, right?
Well, and I have done that to myself. And, I remember going to the cheese factory here over outside of Lakeview.
Right.
And we did an in-depth on how cheese is made.
Wow.
I'm intrigued, other than the fact it was 100 degrees and humidity was close to 100 in there.
Of course, that's almost more of a documentary film project than a podcast, right?
Well, it ended up being part of the podcast because we broke it up into 2 segments.
Yeah.
And it's informative.
What a time to be alive isn't it when you don't have to pick and choose what you're.
And it doesn't hurt the fact that neither you or I are shy.
It's true.
That we have the ability, and my wife has said this, I can talk to a complete stranger and learn something about them in 3 to 5 minutes.
Well, you just have a basic confidence about yourself that that you're a capable person, that you're not a foolish person, that you can hang with anybody, and that shows. And I feel like I've got that too, but I got to give a shout out to my team real quick, because I was
going to get to that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
it's not just you.
You see, there's two fellas in this picture. The other, my co-host, is a guy named Pat Brooks. Pat Brooks is a Morley graduate, so he's a Mecosta County native. We met because he was the sales rep from the Pioneer that would come around and try to sell advertising and stuff like that. And we would end up just having these 1.5 hour long lunches where we were just laughing the whole time, talking about baseball or pop culture or whatever things we were into. I just knew he would make an entertaining person to throw the conversation to, because sometimes I can be pretty serious. You know what I mean? I try to be lighthearted and fun, but I've got.
Well, my big thing is it's always funnier in my head.
Yeah.
And once in a while it comes out and I'm like, I am who I am, and let's just go and enjoy life.
Yeah.
Because you can't take yourself 100% serious.
Well, it makes it more fun to make jokes when there's other people in the room.
Well,
and so we've got besides Pat, we've got a producer, Dominic Pace. We've got a production assistant, Kenzie Foreman, and they are a great audience.
Right.
So when we're there hacking it up, they are encouraging us or saying, "Don't say that."
You shouldn't go there.
Yeah, I mean, they almost never do that. Normally, they're throwing in little jokes of their own and stuff, which makes it even more fun. Then we're all just, it's loose, it's
makes
light.
It real.
Yeah,
it's makes
authentic.
It real. Yeah. Let's talk community, because I think I've always said buying local.
Yeah.
Buying local. Yeah. That's been who I've been for forever. But with that means different things to different people.
Sure.
You know, one thing that I've learned is that one community cannot sustain itself 100% locally, meaning within their community. They have to go out for certain things. We all do, you know, and there's no fences around our county lines. So as we grow in community, in Chris's head, what does community and buying local mean to you? I know it's a kind of but
to me, buying local starts with trying to buy American, right? I mean, just I would imagine at its
whatever
most
you
basic, right? And then obviously, to me, when I think of the term buy local, I've been a member of Band of Locals and our Downtown Business Association and the Chamber and groups like that. To me, when I think buy local, I think that whenever you've got the chance to support someone that you know or someone that you know of,
right,
because they're in your area, you always start there. You know what I mean? You always try. You know, so I guess to me, trying to make yourself at least aware of the options, because I feel like today that's getting harder and harder. It's easier and easier to just Amazon as our first step.
Yes.
When your downtown still has a lot of those options, and you might pay a built-in, you know, slight bit above that for that extra convenience. But in my mind, it's always better in the long run to have those businesses in our community still operating, not seeing them shut down.
Right.
Those spots go
an
vacant.
Important part to what you just said,
Yeah.
if you can purchase locally, because it's those businesses that the sports teams and the churches
Correct. Yeah.
and the schools go out to.
Well, they try to.
They do.
I promise you they do try to. They don't have to. It's not like there's some rule that says that churches and schools and other local businesses have to go local, but they, you know, in my experience as having served on the school board and in some of these other community boards, they make it a policy, their own personal policy, to always try to support local businesses when it comes to embroidery or getting shirts made or catering. Or
even donations. You know, local businesses support baseball teams.
Of course they do.
You know, they
always have.
But in order for that business to put out that outlay, they need business to be able to pay for it.
I have not
it's a circle. It's a circle.
I've not seen like a Jeff Bezos-backed baseball team in our area yet. You know what I mean? They're not sponsoring any of these local sports teams yet, are they?
No. You know, or, you know, this is brought to you by Amazon.
Right, yeah.
You know, but with that, you know, that's a totally different topic, and it probably needs an economist to come in to really.
Yeah, I'm not a hater. I certainly get some things from Amazon too, but I'm with you, man. If and when I can, for me, I live kind of right in our downtown footprint, so I love being able to walk or pop here or there for basically everything I need.
Right.
You know.
And I do the same, you know, but there are some things that my business needs that I can't get locally.
Right, yeah.
I can't get it locally. You know, it just...
Well, that's true
I've
of all
tried.
of us. I mean, it's not like we have a medication plant in town. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. So you've got, you know, What's Up Big Rapids. Mm-hmm. You're trying to go out and show and bring information. You're at the time of this recording, which we're in the, what is today?
Yeah, we're pre-4th of July.
Yeah, pre-4th of July. This will probably come out in a couple weeks, but you've got 20-some episodes. Are you to 30?
Nope, not yet. I think we're a couple short of 6 months. We started the show at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
And we just did our 24th. So 2 more episodes. We'll hit our 6-month anniversary. So we're still very new at this. Most of that 6 months, if you watch it, there's been a progression of as we have improved our studio space, as we've been able to add better equipment or different equipment. And so, we're not a finished product by any means, but we have already checked off a couple of basically my only goals for the show, where it was, one, I wanted it to just have a great buddy podcast look.
Yep.
Okay. And then I wanted us to get 2 guests, the mayor of our city, because I thought, who else, if you're going to have a show called What's Up Big Rapids, you're going to have a guest.
Yep.
The top guest you could possibly get would be the mayor, right?
Yep.
And so we got the mayor on. He was an awesome guest. He was so funny and great and informative. So we felt like we were on top of the world. Why not go for our second one? Basically, my only other goal I had was to get Dr. Pink, president of Ferris State University. He was an excellent guest as well. And now we're not even 6 months in, and I'm out of ideas.
Well, and you and I were talking about this prior to coming on, that
you gave me tons of ideas.
Your well is deeper than you think.
Yeah.
And so is mine.
Sure.
And that's, it's just like, okay, so many opportunities, but not enough time to do it all.
Now I'm excited to do more interviews like you're doing, because people are so interesting and are so funny. And, and I think if we throw them into our mix, just like fun. You have found that when you get somebody here, they get comfortable. Like, it's weird to be on a microphone looking into lights and have cameras pointing at you and stuff like that, but it goes away. It goes away in moments, and then it's just people having a conversation. And honestly, that's how we make our show feel too.
And so with, you've been in the Mecosta County area, 20 years ago was what? Beginning of...
The mid-aughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been, adapt. What is it, and I'll in your case, we'll talk about Mecosta, but Mecosta and Montcalm have a lot of similarities.
Sure. Yep.
But what is it about this area do you like to discover, and why?
The food, my man. Are you kidding?
Foodie.
The food. Gosh, I care about very little else except, there are only a few things I really, really love. I love when musicians pick up instruments and play them together.
Yep.
I live for that. And I only really eat 2 meals a day. I typically don't eat breakfast. So lunch and dinner is it. And my man, I don't like to go Spartan on those. I like to enjoy them. So a shoe burger.
Yeah.
I mean, have you been? Have you tried? And of course, you guys down here, you've got the Forager burger. I think it's the best.
Have you had their meatloaf?
Of course I have.
I've
never had a bad meal there. I'm just shout out to the Forager, and also condolences on your recent loss. That was heartbreaking. But I will put my money on the Forager burger being the best burger you can get within 45 minutes of this location.
Oh, and the Forager, I've reached out
before. There might be a better burger in Grand Rapids.
You need to come here and talk about it.
Oh,
and
I would love to talk to one of their chefs, because those guys are geniuses.
Oh, it's
I'm
amazing.
not just saying that.
It's amazing what they do. So where can they find your podcast?
Yeah, we're easy to find, man. We are on all the same platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. If you would like to do the audio version, I highly recommend you check out the video version, which we post on YouTube every week. We shoot every week, same as you. We typically try to post on Wednesdays, scheduling conflicts aside. And then we share that link to Facebook, but we every day post reels on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and it's all at What's Up BR.
And what I was telling you about that software, which we're going to geek out off camera.
Yeah, he's going to help me out.
Because when I show you that you can do this from one device.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be wonderful.
It's a few minutes and boom, boom, boom. And
yeah, because right now we spend, so we typically will edit the show and like I said, get it up on Wednesday, but then our intern and I are responsible for making sure we have a week's worth of reels every week. And
I can do that in an hour.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
And I can give you months.
That'd be sweet.
I mean, you can, because now you can go back to your other ones.
Yeah.
So as we wrap this up, and you and I could talk probably for the next, we talked a lot off camera.
I want a Forager burger.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
What, is there anything that I haven't ask you that you'd like to
Well, you know
touch
what?
on?
I guess if I've got the floor, I would love to just plug some of the things going on around Big Rapids. Now, by the time this airs, these things may have passed, but they're a good representation of the kind of every month, every week things that we've got going on. Like, for instance, tonight I'll be hosting something that would be dear to your heart, our local drum circle.
Yeah, you've built that up.
Yep, that's something that just was another. I just said, you know what? I'm tired of there not being a community drum circle. I'm not going to wait. I've been waiting my whole life for somebody to come along who knew about African drumming or world drumming that could teach us all more about it. I said, well, I guess I'm just going to have to be that guy. Yeah. And so that's every fourth Friday at our band shell. We do a free 2-hour drum circle from 6 to 8.
And it's as you said, it's free.
It's free.
It's free.
This weekend, our city's Main Street will be shut down for Pride Festival. We have a huge music festival. I'm in 2 bands that are playing that day. That's Sunday, and again, by the time you hear this, it probably will have been over, but good representation of the kind of fun stuff. Every Wednesday night, we've got free concerts. Every Friday night, every Friday in the day, we've got free concerts downtown. So if you haven't been to Big Rapids in a while, come check it out. We've got the Dragons Trail completed. We are finishing the last stretch of the Rails to Trails,
right?
The White Pine, that's called. The White Pine Trail will be completed. You will be able to drive your bike from Grand Rapids right through Big Rapids.
And all the way up to Cadillac, I believe.
Yeah, and one day to the Mackinac Bridge. It won't be long.
Yeah, and we've been, here in Montcalm County, we're now paved throughout the county. So, Chris, once again, where can they find What's Up Big Rapids?
What'sUpBigRapids.com. What's Up Big Rapids on Facebook, on all the platforms.
It's and YouTube, you mentioned
on
as
YouTube,
well?
it's either at What's Up Big Rapids, all spelled out, or it's at What's Up BR. Those are kind of our handles, but we should be easy to find if you're interested in knowing about Big Rapids and Mecosta County content. Give us a follow.
And these are great staycations where, and this is where moving out into my chatting local allows me to reach out just across the county line and say, hey, Mecosta, come to Montcalm.
Yeah, love that idea.
Go to Mecosta. There's things to do in all of these areas. So thanks again for coming on. My name's Dwayne, the host and producer. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as Pandora, Apple, and iHeart. Go to discovermontcalmpodcast.com. Over 140 episodes at the time that we're here. It's all about community. Remember to buy and shop locally.
Cool.
We would like to thank M1063, WGLM, FM, M1063.com. West Michigan Technology and Design Solutions is your local source for managed IT, websites design and hosting. Check them out at WMTDS.com. At Business Growth Engine, Stephen and his team support businesses through automation and streamlined processes. Go to buildergrowthengine.com. DW Video transfers your home movies, slides, audio, and videotapes to digital. They produce and design websites, create business and social media videos, TV commercials, and family storytelling videos. Visit dwvideo.com to learn more. Connect and follow the Discover Montcalm podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Check out all our episodes at discovermontcalmpodcast.com. We look forward to featuring your business, community, nonprofit, events, and more. Contact Dwayne at 231-250-9624, 231-250-9624. Thank you for tuning in and following the Discover Montcalm podcast.